Alright everybody, working on a friend's truck here. He's got a new start on a carpet cleaning business, and I'll see if he wants that name in the video here. It's out of the greater Milwaukee area, and you start off a business, you buy a used machine, everybody says it works, then you start using it, and of course stuff happens. Here we have a Hydrocat Crossfire truck mount 4.4. It's just the carpet cleaner. You got the pump system, you got the wastewater, all that jazz. Water tanks throughout. This actually has a fuel pump that pulls out of the main tank, and then it has a crazy ass exhaust that comes out and down and all sorts of goofy stuff. The original motor's long been replaced. This actually is a Predator 670, and we're having a little bit of trouble getting her running. You can see that's got some crazy exhaust on there and all that stuff. Who knows how restrictive it is, and you know, the booger welds, who knows how badly that's plugged up in that port. But that's not the problem. The big problem is we'll give her a choke, full throttle. We got nothing, and it reeks of gas, which is weird, but it smells like propane. So that may sound kind of odd, but I smell propane. This is a gas van, gas motor. So just a weird after smell. So I think we may have a fuel issue, as well as probably a spark issue. And with a lot of these vehicles, you got somebody else's hack jobbery, and I have no idea where this wire's off of. It looks like it burned up pretty bad, but where is it off of? I got no friggin' idea. So it looks like we got oil all over on here. Oil level's good. He just did an oil change. I think the first step is going to be pulling all this stuff off and kind of seeing what's going on. And we got the bypass hose hooked up, so it's just going to continually circulate the water. So there's no problem with that. And fuel pump is working. I can hear it. So we'll just have to putz around with this thing and see what's going on. I see a bunch of random wires just everywhere. Like right down here. There's this little jobber just dangling in the breeze. Where's it go? Nobody knows. Now the other thing is too, I don't know what motor this thing had before, and it may have needed those wires. It may have been an Onan, may have been a Briggs, who knows. And now this thing may not need them, plain and simple. And I may have to bypass some of the wiring and just do what I can to get it to run. Big thing is going to be just kind of picking around and checking for spark, checking for all that jazz. But right now it's actually a little bit on the too hot side, so I'm just going to share this video up. I'm going to work on this once it gets a little bit later in the day. It's already 10:30 and it's a scorcher, and it's a white van, but it's pretty warm in here. And I'm starting to lean to that this is probably a wiring issue or a spark issue, because of the fact that I did give it a healthy shot of ether after been sitting, no choke, wide open throttle, and it didn't even fart. So one more time just for shits and grins. Yeah, she ain't gonna go. Let's put that down there. Alright. Well, I'll post up this one. It's just kind of like a preview. I'm actually gonna be doing a video on this all together. Just kind of see what happens. Thanks for watching, everybody. It's been a couple days. I'm out here now working on the van with the Predator 670 carpet cleaner thing, and got good news. We got some spark, and as I figured it was going to be a spark issue, and I was really hoping it wasn't going to be anything major, and I'm actually right on that. As you can see, this is a wiring nightmare, and if everything was still original, it wouldn't be a problem, but there are loose wires hanging everywhere. and I'll show that in a second here. I hop up in here in the van. Turn on the old Milwaukee. That wire's dangling and doing nothing. This wire is dangling and doing nothing, and it's actually burned through. I don't know where the hell that comes from. And then this green wire as well, dangling, doing nothing. I think that's the kill wire. There's a low oil pressure sensor, and what Eric from Grey Goat Garage, he says that he calls it the voodoo box, and disconnected all that, and I got spark again. So the reason why I was not suspecting it was going to be coils was it was both cylinders at the same time, and on top of that, it progressively got worse. It used to run all day, then it'd run for a few hours, shut off, cool down, and run fine for another few hours. Then it went down to an hour, 45 minutes, 30 minutes, down to 5 minutes, then to the point where it'd turn, fire per second, then die. And that doesn't seem like coils because both cylinders lost spark. So, camera's gonna keep rotating here, so just put up with it. So I gotta figure out what wire goes where, kind of clean up some of this mess, cap some stuff off. But even with shots of ether, people were like, my buddy that came over, he's, oh dude, it's gotta be the carburetor. No, it can't be, because I'm shooting ether straight into there and it doesn't even fart. And both cylinders had compression, about 125 psi on both. This is actually a very healthy engine. So, with how consistent it was, either it was the fact both coils were together and there was one failing and it was killing both at the same time, which that is possible, if they are, depending on how they're wired together. The flywheel on the magnet on the flywheel could have lost polarity, maybe, never know. Or I was thinking it's got to be something electrical. I'm thinking it was one of the safety sensors somewhere, whether it was a temp sensor or the oil sensor. And it was an oil sensor way down on this side. I got all the wires pulled and dangling, and I'm just making sure I got a kill wire so I don't go to fire this thing up and then she just keeps running. So I'm trying to trace all that down. What I'd like to do as well, because of all this heb jobber and nonsense bullshit wiring, I would like to add one more kill wire and just have a nice big switch toggle somewhere, dish, off, done deal. Because you got the push button, you got the key switch. Now with the key switch, you look down there, it's not grounded out the most, efficiently. It's just dangling there. When you hold it, it actually gets better spark. Same with the other side. So I got good strong spark. I'm going to throw new plugs in it. Make sure the oil's topped up. And then that's pretty much going to be it. The last thing I want to do, like I mentioned, is just make sure I got some good wiring going on in here, so that the thing doesn't just sit there and run away on the guy. And then also, I'm going to try to find a way to strap that battery down a little bit better. Because right now he has jumper cables running up to the front because this battery kept dying, because he'd have to sit there and restart it every 5 minutes. So, and this is an interesting van. It's a 99 Chevy E3 3500. I keep thinking E350. And she's pretty well abused. Surprisingly, it's not terribly rusted. I mean, it's pretty bad, but not as bad as it could be for a Wisconsin vehicle. But in traditional commercial vehicle, this was a fleet truck to begin with, so it got all beat to hell. It's only got 97,000 miles, but it runs like dog shit. Bad misfires and all that. You can see she's all outfitted with the different tanks and hoses and all that jazz. So, yeah, so that's the progress on this so far. This will actually be my first edited video. I downloaded something from the phone. We'll see how that works. I do have a laptop I got, and got it from my buddy Tom. And I'm going to try getting that thing fixed up. It's got Windows 7 and it hasn't been updated in 7 years. So, it hasn't had any Windows updates whatsoever. I don't know what she was using it for, but I don't think it was ever hooked up to the internet. Or if it was not for very long. Or the updates were turned off, because everything is so outdated and worn out, super slow. So fixing that up, so I'll actually have a computer to work off of, and I actually have a camera on order. I'm gonna try doing more actual, you know, in-depth videos on some stuff, especially some of the build projects. But yeah, quality van. Left the window open last night by accident. We got hit with some crazy weather. What do we got here? It's like a treasure chest of foam and sadness. Alright. This will be the third part of this video here. So, after I diagnosed the wiring problem, got some new spark plugs to give this old Predator a chance. I threw some AC Delcos in there. Had pretty good luck with these over the years. Run them in a lot of my 212s as well. And then I actually ran a new kill wire. I put the two coils together, ran the new kill wire all the way up through the loom, up to the kill switch, just a regular toggle, and then back down. And I actually have it grounded out on the common ground down here. So that should work out. I already tested it dry style. I put the spark tester on there and turn it over. It'd spark, turn the switch off, and it would not spark. So I'm pretty sure that was it. I'm hoping. And there were two wires that were the same, so I'm guessing it was both wires off the coil because it was a bundle that came out. So I'm just about ready to test fire here. Alright, had to do a few more little things. Bunch of hardware is missing for the air filter, so owner's going to take care of that problem, not me. I have no idea where it is, if it's even in the van. This is the downside of working on something that probably 30 other people have had their hands into. You never know what's actually there or missing. But the only other thing I had to worry about with the messed up wiring is when I pulled out the low oil sensor, one wire was connected to the fuel shutoff through a ground. So if you bypass that, you do have to add an extra ground. That way the solenoid will actually turn on and off on the carburetor. Because I went to test fire it off camera and it actually would fire an ether and then die. So I knew it wasn't getting fuel, but the fuel pump was working because I flushed out the system just to make sure. But let's give it a go. We're on. Let's give it a little juice. Fixed. And then also too, I was trying to figure it out why the coils were not connected, and I didn't wire them up to this switch. This one does not work at all. I wired them into their own separate switch, but the fuel shutoff is wired in through here, so when you turn it off, it cuts off the fuel supply. So, and I didn't know for sure if this motor had that or not. I've seen some that have it, some that don't. I know the majority of them do, but I didn't know how it was wired in. So that's why I wanted to make sure I added an extra shut off just in case. Because if that ever failed, this thing would never shut off. So we're good to go.